Hi everyone from Smeagol's house. A new video, a new subject. Today our guest is a little bit big in size. He has claws, he has wings, he's a fire drake. He is the last of his kin, Smaug, the mightiest. My armor is like tenfold shields, my teeth are swords, and my wings are a hurricane, and my breath, death. Smaug was a fire drake. Details of its origin are unknown, and the name of Smaug derived from the third-person singular Proto-Germanic word called Smaugnen, which means to proceed. Maybe this is the exact preferences for Tolkien to create the Smaug name. We don't know it for sure. We have no exact proof about that. And there's a Slavic word called smok, which means serpent. And also there's a detail about its name pronunciation. I actually like to say Smaug, but as far as I know, it's pronounced like smoke. A little bit primitive or brutish way to pronounce it. And let's take a look at its size, or how much big our drake is. Actually, Smaug's actual size is never explicitly mentioned by Tolkien, so we need some solid proofs or references so we can decide, is he big or small. One thing is for sure, he is smaller than the Ankalagon, because Ankalagon is the largest of all dragons. The black arrow launched by the Bard completely disappeared into the dragon's body, and the corpse of Smaug severely destroyed Lake Town. So we can say that he is not a small dragon. There are some mediocre sized dragons in the history of Middle-earth, but Smaug was not one of them. Another tip for his size is that he could only put the tip of his nostril into the secret tunnel of Erebor. As we all know, that secret tunnel is a huge structure, but Smaug can only put his nostril in it. He is huge, that is for sure, but it is unclear whether Smaug is the largest specimen in the third age of Middle-earth. We will never know this because there is no info about that. I am fire. I am dead. Smaug is portrayed psychedelic, extremely sadistic, confident, arrogant, intelligent, and greedy, because he likes shiny things. Smaug seems primarily motivated by the personal greed rather than a desire to do evil. Once he assumed dominion of Dale and Erebor, he seems content to allow the rest of Middle-earth undisturbed. As long as he keeps his treasure, he is happy. Also, Smaug is able to quickly surmise the reason of Bilbo's presence in Erebor, so we can say that he is very intelligent creature. Smaug was both massive and powerful. He was able to fly thanks to his wings. He had the ability to breathe hot flame and vapors from his mouth and his nostrils. And also we know that he was seen to glow in the darkness just because his entire body was imbued with fire. And also there's a rumor about that he left a melted track. I don't know if this is correct or not, but it's a rumor.
I laid low the warriors of old, and the likes are not in the world today. But then I was young and tender. Now I'm old and strong. Strong.
In 2770 year of the Third Age, smog came from the mountains in the north attracted by the wealth of the Erebor. Those wealth included gold, gemstones, pearls, sapphire, emeralds, silver, diamonds, and famous Arkenstone. Smog attacked Erebor and the neighboring town of Dale and killed dwarves and men who dared to try stop him. For 2 centuries, Smog ruled the Lonely Mountain uncontested. He spent his days within the mountain lying atop his great treasure hoard. The surrounding dominion became a wasteland and known as the Desolation of Smog. In 2941st year of the Third Age, 14 adventurers consisting of 12 dwarves and Bilbo Baggins, led by the Thorin Oakenshield, entered the mountain and tried to claim treasure and city from Smog.
I am king under the mountain.
After a series of events, Bilbo discovered Dragon's weakness. Bilbo noticed a single bare patch on the dragon's left breast nearest to his heart. In treasure chamber of Erebor, Smog conversed with Bilbo and attempting to deduce his origins and purpose in the mountain. He quickly understood that Bilbo was aiding Thorin and his company in an attempt to steal back the Arkenstone and reclaim the mountain. After a while, Smog flew into a rage, turned his fury on Lake Town and set about razing it. But Bard the Bowman, heir to the throne of Dale, informed of Smog's weakness and fired a black arrow to Dragon's weak spot. After Smog's death, Thorin Oakenshield and his company claimed that the treasures of Erebor as theirs by birthright. This claim of theirs created a conflict with Bard and the Elven King Thranduil of Mirkwood. Thorin refused to share treasure, so as a result, they both declared war on him, and that is how the story of the last dragon ended. Again, this is the end of the Smog story, but in Smeagol's house we will see some more. There will be other videos about Smog because there is Benedict Cumberbatch's ultimate performance, film adaptations, products from Noble Collection, Funko Pop, Weta Workshop. We will review all because it's a dragon. One video is not enough for him. So this is not an end, this is just the beginning. Please do not forget to subscribe to my channel and like my videos. Goodbye from Smeagol's house. Take care of yourselves till the next video. See you all later. Bye bye.